Are you ready for another mid-range Android battle between these beauties over here? Let's take a closer look to see who's with us today. So starting over here, we have the Nothing Phone 2A, the Google Pixel 8a, Galaxy A55, and the Motorola Edge 50 Fusion. Hey, I'm Olive, your host here at Versus.com. Taking a look at each device in detail and reviewing its capabilities, from performance and battery life all the way to durability and design. But first, let's take a look at the cameras, because let's be honest, when you're choosing which smartphone to go for, you're most definitely considering its camera capabilities. Before we get into a juicy photo and video comparison, let's briefly take a look at each device's camera specs. The Pixel has a 64 megapixel wide lens along with a 13 megapixel ultra wide lens, and the same with its front cam. It can digitally zoom 8 times for photos and 5 times for videos. Furthermore, it can shoot in up to 4K and has an option for active stabilization. Moving on to the Nothing Phone, it is equipped with a 50 megapixel wide lens and a 50 megapixel ultra wide lens. Its front cam can shoot up to 32 megapixels, and it can digitally zoom in 10 times both for photos and videos. It is also able to shoot 4K video. Next we have the A55, which also has a 50 megapixel wide lens along with a 12 megapixel ultra wide lens. Its front cam can shoot up to 32 megapixels, same as the Nothing Phone. It can shoot in up to 4K video and has the option for super steady stabilization, but only when shooting in 1080p. Finally, we have the Motorola, which has a 50 megapixel wide lens with a 13 megapixel ultra wide lens. Its front cam can shoot up to 32 megapixels, the same as the Nothing Phone and the A55. It can shoot up to 4K and has options for stabilization plus a horizon lock feature, which we will take a detailed look at a little later on. So as always, we're going to start off with standard wide photos, as we feel that's the mode people use most frequently. Right off the bat, the Pixel stands out as the most natural looking shot with the best color accuracy. The Nothing Phone follows closely behind with slightly more exposure and warm skin tones. If you plan to shoot a lot of bright colors, you most likely won't want to go for the Motorola, as it has completely oversaturated them. My jacket looks like a bad filter. Samsung has produced a nice result, but it's a tad too saturated and gives off a bit of an unrealistic feel. It's definitely social media worthy though. In low light, it was difficult for all of the devices to get the white balance right, but Google has done the best job at giving us a nice natural result with good dynamic range. The Nothing Phone has also done okay, but with slightly more saturated colors and a deep contrast. Both Samsung and Motorola are completely off when it comes to skin tones, and Samsung has overexposed the light above, which isn't ideal. So now let's check out some ultra-wide photos, which are really great for getting more of your scenery in the frame. In this first one, you have to look closely to see the differences. Google has great color accuracy, but the contrast could have been a little higher. Samsung's contrast, on the other hand, is nice, however its colors are a little over-exaggerated, and it's completely overexposed my skin, making me look ghostly. But of course, in the end, it's always down to personal preference. Motorola has done pretty much the same, but it's generally more exposed, and the Nothing Phone's contrast is a bit too low, and the colors just aren't quite accurate. Next we have a low light example, and here it's evident that Google has given us the best results, although the white balance is off, but then again, it's not quite accurate on any of the other phones either. Although the Nothing Phone has gone down a very pink route, it still managed to expose the subject well, and with a little tweaking, the image can be saved. The Motorola and Samsung are both underexposed with noise present. Now it is time for one of my favorite types of photos, and that is portraits. So let's get into portrait mode and see which one of these phones can give us the best photo and also the most accurate edge detection. Once again, it's evident that Google has produced the best and most natural results, as well as has the most accurate edge detection. It's a tough one between the Nothing Phone and Motorola, as the Nothing Phone has better edge detection and color accuracy. However, the Motorola has a better bokeh, which is what you want when shooting in portrait mode. As for Samsung, I'm not sure what has happened, as it has performed very badly. The image is underexposed with harsh contrast and shadows, and the edge detection is completely off. In low light, every single device struggled with edge detection. The Nothing phone seems to have the best results overall. However, once again, the background blur is so minimal that it is a bit of a letdown when shooting in portrait mode. It still needs to get the most points though, because the other images are an even bigger letdown, and it's the only one that's actually usable. Google has done okay, but the white balance is completely off, making the entire image super pink. Both the Samsung and Motorola have a nice amount of background blur, but the edge detection has majorly failed, making the photos perhaps unusable, depending of course on if you care or not.
One extremely crucial aspect of your smartphone is video quality. So let's take a look at some video examples to see which one of these performs the best.
In this first standard wide video, all of the phones have performed exceptionally well and produced really nice videos. All but Samsung. It's the only device that hasn't quite managed to handle the white balance, which has resulted in an overly warm photo that doesn't look terrible, but it is giving the water an ugly color tone, and when compared to the others, it just doesn't look that great. Next we have an ultra-wide example where Samsung and the Nothing phone have produced decent results, with Samsung having higher shadows, which in return show us more details in the clouds, whereas the Nothing phone has better exposure, but it does end up losing a few details in the sky. In low light standard wide videos, the Samsung and the Nothing phone once again have decent outcomes, as both are well exposed, specifically when I'm closer to the camera. The Samsung does have slightly higher contrast, but it's very minimal. At first, Google seems to have the best exposure. However, the closer I get to the camera, the dimmer it becomes, which isn't ideal when shooting a specific subject. Unfortunately, once again, Motorola struggles the most and is underexposed throughout. In low-light ultra-wide video, Motorola continues to be an absolute disaster, starting off super dark and the exposure does appear at some point, however, it then struggles with the focus. Google is showing a ton of noise, specifically on the top part of the video, and it's also slightly underexposed. Samsung and the Nothing phone both have decent results with color variations. Samsung is on the more yellow tone side, whereas the Nothing phone is more on the pink side. So in the end, it does come down to personal preference.
It's time for stabilization, which means it's time for running. I'm gonna get Max over here to run instead of me today, so I can take a little break. But what's very interesting is that the Motorola doesn't have active stabilization, but what it does have is horizon lock. So let's test that out as well.
We started off by testing standard stabilization, and the Pixel definitely has the smoothest results. Both Samsung and the Nothing phone slightly struggle, with Samsung having some jittering, and the Nothing phone seems to have issues with the exposure in the sky. Motorola is an absolute disaster, and I don't think I need to say much, as you can see it for yourself. Next, we turned on active stabilization and horizon lock on the Motorola, as it does not have an option for specific active stabilization. And honestly, it just got worse. I did not even think that was possible, but clearly it is. Google once again takes the lead, as the stabilization is buttery smooth and the overall video looks great. In case you're unaware of what horizon lock is, it's basically a feature that helps your device lock its focus in a horizontal line, so even if you spin your device around 180 degrees, it will still maintain a horizon view. Only the Motorola has this feature, which is pretty cool, but they've seriously got to work on their stabilization. That's a priority in my opinion.
Time to take some selfies and see which one of these phones will make me look the nicest. I'm also gonna try out the front camera video and audio to see which one performs the best.
Looking at this first selfie, the Nothing phone has definitely done the best job to give off a very natural look. It keeps shadows in the right places with good exposure and accurate colors with good skin tone. Samsung and Google also have decent results with adequate exposure and only slight variation in colors. Motorola seems a tad too overexposed, and it's got a bit of a smoothing going on around my face, which looks quite unnatural. Next, I took a selfie in low light, and oh dear, the Motorola really could not handle the situation. It looks terrible. The Nothing phone, on the other hand, is looking pretty nice. It could be a little sharper, but overall it's managed to expose me well enough while still maintaining a low light feel. Between Samsung and Google, the Pixel does look sharper and has maintained better contrast, whereas Samsung has adequate exposure, but it's a tad blurry and has slightly lost its low light feel. When it comes to front camera video, it seems that surprisingly the Motorola is the only one that's managed to produce a somewhat decent result. Who would have thought? Samsung is far too warm and yellow looking with an overexposed sky, and although Google maintains the details in the sky better, the entire video is distorted with a cold hue which isn't very appealing. The Nothing phone has also slightly overexposed the sky, and its contrast is far too low.
So let's test out the built-in microphones of all of these devices. We're gonna start off with the Motorola here, and let me know what you think. How is it sounding? Moving on to the Galaxy. Wow, the shot is definitely looking a lot more desaturated, I would say, but how is the audio sounding? Next we have the Pixel, which is looking, I mean, I look pale, guys, but how is the audio on this one? And finally, we have the Nothing phone. Definitely looking a lot more exposed than the others, but how am I sounding though?
This was a tricky one. I'd say that Samsung and the Nothing phone both have crisper and clearer audio, whereas Motorola and Google have a more muted sound and better noise cancellation. So in the end, it really depends what your preference is, as everyone has slightly different hearing abilities.
Time to experiment with some zoom shots. Now it's important to note that the Pixel can only zoom 8 times, but the rest of the phones can zoom in 10 times, so let's see how they perform.
At 3x zoom, all of the devices have done a decent job, but the Samsung does stand out slightly due to its yellowy green undertone and lack of sharpness. At 5x zoom, Google definitely stands out as it has managed to capture the most detail. All of the other devices have struggled with keeping the image sharp and in return have lost a lot of details, specifically the Nothing phone. Motorola has done a tad better than Samsung due to the higher contrast and accurate colors. Although Google is only able to zoom in 8 times compared to the 10 times on the other devices, it still managed to produce the best looking photo. In order to have a clearer comparison, we have digitally zoomed in 10 times to show you a similar result. Although there's a lot of noise present, the Motorola once again has done better than Samsung and the Nothing phone by providing slightly more detail in the tower. Alright, let's do a quick summary and see who the winners are when it comes to the camera. For standard photos, Google takes the win, followed by the Nothing phone, then the Samsung, and in last place, the Motorola. Next we have ultra-wide photos, where once again Google comes first, followed by a draw between Samsung and the Nothing phone, leaving the Motorola in last place. In portrait mode, it's a draw between Google and the Nothing phone, then comes the Motorola, which leaves Samsung in last place. In videos using the back cameras, the Nothing phone takes first place, Samsung takes second place, Google takes third place, and that leaves Motorola in last place. When it comes to stabilization, unsurprisingly, Google takes first place, followed by the Nothing phone in second place, Samsung in third place, and of course, the Motorola in last place. For front camera photos and videos, the Nothing phone comes in first place, with Google in second place, meaning that Samsung is in third place, leaving Motorola in last place once again. But when it comes to audio, it is a tie between Samsung and the Nothing phone, with Motorola and Google tying in second place. Google wins the Zoom category. The Samsung and the Nothing phone draw in second place, and in last place comes Motorola. So that was just some shots we captured, and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments. But phones aren't just about their cameras, as general performance matters too. So let's take a closer look at how each device operates. The Pixel 8a operates on the Google Tensor G3 chipset, the Nothing Phone 2a operates on the MediaTek Dimensity 7200 Pro chipset, the A55 operates on the Exynos 1480 chipset, and the Motorola Edge 50 Fusion operates on the Qualcomm Snapdragon 7S Gen 2 chipset. As expected, the Pixel performed the strongest in all of the tests, with the Motorola's performance being the weakest in almost every test. But let's go through the test results for each app and check out the outcomes. Starting with Geekbench 6 in single core, the highest score was 1594 coming from the Pixel, with the lowest being 1017 coming from the Motorola. In multi-core, the highest score was 4110 coming from the Pixel, with the lowest being 2437 coming from the Nothing phone. Moving on to 3D Mark, here the highest score was 2407 again coming from the Pixel, and the lowest score was 799 coming from the Motorola. Finally, in Antutu, the highest score was over 8 million from the Pixel, with the lowest being under 6 million from the Motorola. I do have to say that the Pixel 8a definitely got the hottest during these tests, so that's something to keep in mind. You very well may experience overheating after prolonged usage. For more detailed comparisons of these 4 phones, be sure to visit our website versus.com, where you can find additional information. Let's talk about the displays. The Pixel boasts a 6.1-inch OLED display with a 1080x2400 resolution and a PPI density of 430. The Nothing phone has a 6.7-inch AMOLED display, so quite a bit larger than the Pixel, with a 1080x2412 resolution and a PPI density of 394. Moving on to the Galaxy, it has a 6.6-inch AMOLED display with a 1080x2340 resolution and a PPI density of 389. Finally, the Motorola boasts a 6.7-inch POLED display with a 1080x2400 resolution, similar to the Pixel, and a PPI density of 393. They all have an adaptive 120Hz refresh rate, apart from the Motorola, which has up to 144Hz. The Pixel has Corning Gorilla Glass 3, while both the Nothing phone and the Motorola have Corning Gorilla Glass 5. The Galaxy has Corning Gorilla Glass Victus Plus. Only the Nothing phone supports HDR10+, but both the Pixel and the Galaxy do support HDR. In terms of brightness, the Pixel's peak is at 2000 nits, the Nothing phone at 1300 nits, the Galaxy at 1000 nits, and the Motorola at 1600 nits. When you're choosing a smartphone, design does matter, so let's take a closer look at each device and its design. The Google Pixel 8a boasts a sleek and refined design, building upon the aesthetic foundations of its predecessors in the A series. It features a matte back with an aluminium frame, giving it a polished yet sturdy feel. The phone is available in 4 colors: black, beige, a darker blue, and a refreshing green. These colors extend to the matte aluminium frame and camera bar, enhancing the phone's cohesive look. The Nothing Phone 2a features a distinctive design that sets it apart from other smartphones in its segment. The phone boasts a transparent back, showcasing its internal components, a hallmark of Nothing's unique aesthetic. It includes a revamped camera island with dual rear cameras positioned horizontally at the top, flanked by the innovative Glyph lighting system, which provides customizable LED patterns for notifications and alerts, which is a pretty cool and unique feature. The phone is available in dark gray and white variants. The Samsung Galaxy A55 features a refined and contemporary design. It showcases a metal flat frame that enhances its durability and offers an easy, intuitive grip. Although I must say that out of the 4 phones we are comparing today, it has the roughest edges that are actually pretty sharp to the touch. It's available in several stylish colors. You've got awesome ice blue, awesome lilac, awesome lemon, and awesome navy. And it has a triple camera setup on the rear, which is integrated seamlessly into the body. Finally, constructed with the aluminium frame, the Edge 50 Fusion is designed to be both stylish and durable. It features a sleek and modern design, characterized by its rounded corners, minimal side bezels, and a larger top and bottom bezel. It's available in 3 color options. You've got your ballad blue with a vegan leather finish, peacock pink, and tidal teal, all with a textured back that adds a premium feel to the device and honestly feels pretty nice to the touch. Let's have a quick look over battery life, as that's a crucial step when deciding which device to go for. The Pixel has a LiPo 4492 mAh battery with 18-watt fast charging and 7.5 wireless charging. The Nothing phone has a 5000 mAh battery with 45-watt fast charging, which means you can charge your phone up to 50% in just 23 minutes. The Galaxy also has a 5000 mAh battery with a 25-watt fast charge. Finally, the Motorola has a 5000 mAh battery with a 68-watt fast charge, which is impressive as it means you'd be able to charge your phone up to 50% in just 15 minutes. Not bad. So although the Pixel has the lowest battery capacity, it does support wireless charging, whereas none of the other phones do. Finally, let's have a quick look over the prices for each one of these devices. Google Pixel 8a is at a current asking price of just under $500. The Nothing Phone 2a is at just under $420, the Galaxy A55 is at just under $400, and the most affordable of the lot, the Motorola Edge 50 Fusion, is around $349. So that pretty much sums up these 4 different phones when battled against each other. When considering which product to buy, your decision should be based on your priorities. If capturing photos and videos is your top priority, we suggest perhaps avoiding the Motorola Edge 50 Fusion, as you can see it is not strong in that area. If performance is most important, then the Pixel 8a would be the most suitable option. However, if you're in a tighter budget, the Nothing Phone 2a is also a viable choice. While it may not excel in all areas, it generally gets the job done, producing usable photos and videos, and has decent performance and a cool, unique design. We hope you found this review useful, and we would love to hear your thoughts. Which one would you choose? Let us know in the comments down below. Direct links to all of the devices mentioned in this video can be found in the description below. As always, give this video a big like if you enjoyed it, and make sure to also follow us on Instagram if you aren't already for daily updates on our processes and upcoming videos. With that being said, we will see you in the next video, and until then, take care.